Welcome to the People Data for Good podcast with Adamson.
Hi, welcome back. I am doing a little special edition here today with a friend, Vanessa Perez. Vanessa, how are you doing?
Hey, Al, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, you and I have been talking for a couple weeks now as you have been looking to advance your career. And we've been thinking, gosh, there'd be a wider audience that might benefit from some of these discussions. So if you would, please introduce yourself and what we're going to do here today.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you so much for having me here today, Al. Again, hi everyone. My name is Vanessa Perez. I'm a double Bruin. I graduated in UCLA with my bachelor's in political science and my master's in public health. I currently do marketing, communications, and research. And as Al said, I am looking to advance my career. And we were talking, and it dawned on us that a lot of what we were discussing would be interesting to a broader audience. So we wanted to bring that conversation here today. So I did want to ask a question for you, Al. With coming out of the pandemic and our society recovering from everything that we experienced in the past year, what kind of advice would you have for young people who are looking for a new job or looking to transition their career at this time?
Well, there's a lot to that answer because it depends on what type of job, what geography you're in, what your educational background is. So there's a lot of dimensions. To have one vanilla answer to that and assume it's going to hit the mark for everybody is, not correct. So I'll just call that out from the get-go. That being said, I have a framework that you and I have discussed called the PAD framework, or Personal Assessment and Development Framework. There are 10 dimensions, and I'll go through them very quickly, and I will attach to this video segment, audio segment in the comments, a link to that instrument. But it's really helps someone understand where they are, where they want to go, and in turn, how to get there. And those 10 dimensions are this. Skills. Skills are just what they are, technical skills to do work, to do a job. Behaviors often called are soft skills. I don't like that term. The term soft skills was named up by some dude or group of dudes someplace that wanted to belittle these behavioral qualities that show up in women more than men in many cases, but they're extremely important. They determine success in a role. You can have great skills, but if you're not going to come in and be a good team player, a good contributor, then it's not going to work out for you. Third one, experience. Pretty self-explanatory. Fourth one, education/knowledge. Education is formal, knowledge is informal. So how are you going to tell the world that you have this informal knowledge? Read books, articles, videos, things like that aren't captured in most systems. Formal education are degrees and certificates and so forth. And we'll come back to that in this discussion, I'm sure. Fifth is contribution/accomplishments. Now, many job descriptions say, what am I responsible for? This is what you're going to be responsible for. Personally, I can care less. I'm really what you're going to contribute, what you're going to accomplish. Contribute as part of a team, accomplish individually, and that can go back in history too. So elevating what you have actually done is really important. Number 6 is activities. How do you actually spend your time to actually do those things that you are showing off, those things that you've accomplished and contributed to? How people spend their time is a blind spot for many. It's like, okay, can I be more efficient and effective given this scarce thing called time we have in our lives? It's really, really important and talks about this notion of capacity. Number 7, relationships. So do you have the relationships to get where you want to go? Now, you and I both grew up in East Los Angeles County, and we did not have parents, at least I didn't in my generation, that went to college, that had these jobs. So we had to go off to school, develop new relationships in other communities to achieve these or get these doors open. And sometimes that's exactly what we have to do. We have to get out of our comfort zone, go nurture relationships that we might not otherwise have. We can't just sit at home and hope, the right person and the right set of circumstances comes along. The 8th one It's really about passion, purpose, your intention. What do you want? And so many young people get tied up with this question. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I want yet. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Sober up. You got to make a decision. You just got to go for it. And you can vary off that. You can just, but you have to go. You can't wait for this epiphany one morning and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. That's not how life works. You got to scratch, you got to claw, you got to chop wood, you got to just do stuff. And then you learn, and then you veer off those courses that you create for yourself. Now, it doesn't mean you just go off and do anything, but really be intentional there and aligned with where your energy and intentions are. The last two are more basic. The ninth one is compensation or financial. How much money do you want or need to make? And the last one is benefit/wellness. So healthcare, yes, but really, are you willing to commute 2 hours each way for a job? Really putting boundaries out so you're taking care of yourself. So those 10 dimensions really help, in my view, in my experience, help young people think about where they are, where they want to go, and in turn develop a plan, whether it be relationships, getting certificates, developing new skills, working on certain behaviors, whatever the case is, helps them think about how to take the next step. So there's more to unpack there, but that's really what I'd recommend somebody start.
Absolutely. And I'll just say I absolutely resonate with the passion piece, because I think that's something that a lot of young people like me, who it can be very paralyzing, just trying to figure out what exactly it is that you want to do and what is that one thing that you want to do for the rest of your life. I think it's such good advice to just make a decision, go with it, put your heart and soul into it. And if it doesn't work out, then, you take a new path or you turn to a different direction. So I think that's really valuable advice and important advice, so you don't get kind of stuck in that headspace of figuring out what is that one thing that I really want to do.
Yeah, let me comment on that real quick, because you used you and I believe talked about this. I cite a Chinese proverb quite often: the beginning of wisdom is calling things by their right names. And so I don't give advice. It's not what I do. Advice or feedback, for that matter, in my view, comes from a knowing place. I don't know people. I try and discover by staying in curiosity, by staying in compassionate curiosity, asking questions, learning, and then in turn offering ideas. It's something that I call OQIs: observations, questions, and ideas, because I believe people fundamentally, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be empowered. They don't want to be invisible, they don't want to be ignored, and they don't want to be told what to do, particularly if they're intelligent, intentional people who want to do great things in the world. So my job is to observe, again, stay in curiosity and offer ideas. I'm not offering advice here. So with that said, something else I want to pick up on real quick is that the idea that anybody listening is going to have one job, one career for the next 50, 60 years of their lives is not going to happen. If it happens, it's going to be miraculous. I mean, not just short of miraculous, it is going to be miraculous. The world is changing. When I was in college, we were saying that I was told that the job that you're going to have in the future hasn't been created yet. You know what? They're right. I run a company called PAFOW, People Analytics Future of Work. This did not exist 35 years ago when I started university, or actually more than that, but I'm not going to say. but you get the idea, is that you have to go. You learn, you create, you get better, you learn new things, and you discover. So developing one's career, in my view, is an adventure. Yeah, journey, all these cliches. But when you look at it like something that I'm setting out on this trek, and I'm going to discover some cool new stuff, new animals, new plants. I'm going to have to survive. I'm going to have to struggle. I'm going to meet cool people along the way who are going to help me. I'm going to meet some a-holes along the way who are going to try and challenge me. It's going to be a track, it's going to trek, so really embracing, there's a saying, life is a struggle, therefore let us celebrate the struggle. And that's really what I encourage young people to do, is just, get in the game and get after it. So I'll stop there. Let you ask another question.
Okay. I will say, I think that does sound great, though. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of me when I think about it like that as an adventure, because it makes me think, I want to have fun with it. I want to enjoy it. It's because we're not going to have all the answers in the beginning. Absolutely not, in anything in life. So I like that observation.
Yeah.
So once somebody completes this PAD framework, what would you do in the next steps to help them on their career pathway, to help them figure out what exactly they should be doing next?
Yeah, good question, because we can talk about frameworks. We can talk about, how you should perceive the, trek and journey ahead of you. But there's some tangible things that you have to do. And if you're going to be in the knowledge economy, if you're going to be a knowledge worker, then you have to have a LinkedIn profile, and you have to have it update. And it has to reflect not only what you've done, but it has to reflect what you intend to do. So I keep using this word intention, and Wayne Dyer wrote a book called The Power of Intention. And the way you use language, the way you use video, images, how you structure your experiences, whether it be internships, projects in school, jobs that you've had, is really going to create the impression for recruiters and hiring managers to say, hey, this is a person who really has themselves together, who's focused, who really wants to do something good in the world. And by the way, that something good is aligned with the mission of my team and my organization. Therefore, I'm going to want to reach out to them and explore them for a position. If someone goes and sees, okay, they have a degree in this, but there's not much else here, there's not been a whole lot of effort, I mean, that shows something just by the fact that the effort was not put in. So as much as I hate to say it, is that, yeah, people spend time on a resume. We're now in 2021, your LinkedIn profile in most cases is more important than your resume. So do you need a resume? Yeah, you actually do. But as you know, because you and I have done it, you can actually export your LinkedIn profile into the form of a resume, and you can use that. So, and that's going to be done whether or not you like it or not, given the nature of user rights for LinkedIn. So, being really conscious of your public persona, professional persona, that is specifically, and managing that is certainly a step one. And real quick, a step two is then, having exploratory conversations, informational interviews, and applying for jobs. The idea that, okay, there's 3 or 4 companies that I really want to work with, and I'm only going to apply to those, and then you're not going to learn. It's really, as much as I hate to say it, in most cases, a numbers game. So you really have to get out there and you got to plug away. You're going to get a lot of no's. There's going to have to be resiliency. And I will sneak in one quick story. I mean, I am sitting in this chair today in this position because I made one more call. I had called Eric Severson, who became the CHRO at Gap Inc. in the early 2000s. He was the chief of staff, the CHRO at USH Gavin at the time. And we had a discussion, and it was great. And I emailed him and I called him, and I didn't get a call back. I called him again, didn't get a call back. I called him again, didn't get a call back. I don't know how many times, but I said, you know what? I'm going to call one more time. That one more time he picked up, and I ended up having a job, within a few months after consulting to them for close to a year. So it was that one more call. So it takes persistence, it takes tenacity. And so you can't just expect things to just fall into your lap. It's going to take some work.
Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Al. So is there any way that those who are interested in learning more about the work that you're doing can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way, or Twitter, Instagram. And you can follow PAFOW, PAFOW, which stands for People Analytics Future of Work. We're at PAFOW.net, and we're on most social media platforms. We have LinkedIn company page. It's a good place to start. We also have a community app. So if you go to the App Store, Google Play, you can download the PAFOW app and see a bunch of podcasts and video content that we've created over the years and that we'll continue to create. But we have things for everybody, hopefully, knock on wood, including those who want to develop their career, the TAD framework, the PAD framework, and other tools and ideas like this. But before we wrap up here, Vanessa, I want to say that it's been an honor and a pleasure working with you over these last few weeks, and thank you for being open to having this discussion with me, because I know in you being a representative of a generation, I know that's a big thing to put on you in this forum, but it did dawn on me, and I think both of us, that there are so many who are struggling to find direction. And where I want to land with this is that during the pandemic, the power went to the employers and people just wanted to hold on to their jobs. And now, as we come out of the pandemic, the power is shifting to the workers and what I call high value talent, and they have options, and you have to be really clear on what you want, what your boundaries are, what you're willing to put up with in terms of commute distance, salary, and all that. And where I want to again land with this is that young people are more powerful than they know. And I really want to encourage young people to embrace their power, to say, hey, I am worth something, and advocate for themselves and surround themselves by others who are advocates of them personally as well as professionally. It does take a tribe. It's cliche, but create a personal board of directors, friends, family, those who may be adjacent, who have more an objective view to help provide a lens on who you are in the world professionally, and some ideas, not advice, ideas on how not only to get you where you want to go, but in some cases, just formulate the idea of where you want to go. So again, embrace your power, build a tribe, and enjoy the trek.
Thank you so much, Al. This is seriously a lot of great stuff. I really hope everybody can take something away from this video, from this conversation. I really encourage everyone to go check out Al's work. I know that the tools that he's created have already helped me immensely in my career search. So I want to personally thank you again so much for your mentorship and your friendship, Al. I appreciate you. And I hope everyone, again, go check out Al's work and remember to own your power.
Thanks, Vanessa. You're awesome. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Al.
All right. Be well. I see you.
Okay, you too. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for joining the People Data for Good podcast with Al Adamson. To find other podcasts, videos, upcoming events, and to join the People Data for Good movement, please visit us at PAFOW.net.